She gotta be top two baddest women in comics. It's her and Storm for real. Her and Storm. Just look. Kapow! Battlicious!
Welcome back to Not a Strong Start, the podcast where filmmakers talk about film, television, and sometimes even comic books. And today we have a special guest with us back again. It is Jamie McAfee.
Whoop, whoop. We need a little streamers, a little like the little DJs playing. Just pretend it's there.
I don't know why for me, I just think of the horn like on the car.
Double
like...
A. Oh, I was thinking the double A MCO, like that whole ad. Remember that? They're supposed to be playing it as you're driving. It's supposed to sound like somebody's honking at you.
Yeah.
For an insurance ad. I don't know, Jamie, if you guys have it out there, but it's not the smartest marketing commercial.
Right. No, we do. We do.
Oh, geez. Okay.
It's like, yeah, we had the stupid commercial. Yeah, we got it.
Yes, we all know. Yes.
Well, exactly. Now they aren't going to give a brand deal.
I mean, power of editing. What a great commercial. I love that it's everywhere.
They're fantastic. It's so effective, right? We all remember when we talk about it, even here in the podcast.
I use it.
We love battery and horn.
Go. You know what? I actually like this because when we first brought you on and we talked about it, you were just launching the Indiegogo, right? So you were launching about the Kickstarter. So wait, was it Indiegogo or was it Kickstarter? Refresh my memory.
No, it was Indiegogo. Yeah.
Indiegogo. So we were just about to launch it, and now here we are where it's already fully complete, right? We blink and it feels like, wow, she's done with it so fast. That process must have been so easy. Jamie, was it easy? Was the process easy? Yeah.
It was a lot. Months and months of work.
Okay, if you don't mind, before we get some of these questions, do you mind kind of explaining a little bit to our listeners, like the process behind it, right? Because, we know we were here, we know you had to launch the Indiegogo campaign, but how do you get from that to this right now where you can physically hold the copy of your work?
So I did the Indiegogo and kind of just went crazy with going around to different comic shops and dropping flyers off and attending MegaCon. Going to whatever events I could to spread the word. And once the Indiegogo was over, I was like, I need an illustrator. And I was just asking everybody questions. And George, he had the magic. He gave me two names, actually, of different people that I might be interested in. And I checked their work out and I reached out to Mark Renee, who became my illustrator, and explained to him what I was doing and, what I wanted to get done and all of that. And he liked Alexis. He loved it. He wanted to be a part of it. So I brought him on. And once then, it was kind of like figuring out what he needed from me to make what I wanted on the pages to come to life. So it was breaking down each page, going through the inks, and then coloring. Luckily with him, he handled all of those things. So sometimes you'll need multiple people to do like the inking and coloring, and then you need the lettering and all of these different things. So I got lucky, very lucky with working with him. And once all of that was done, then it was planning for the book to come out. You had to pick your release date. Who do you want to publish through? Because you're self-published. You got to decide how you want to let it out. And yeah, once I kind of figured out everything, I'm still figuring out exactly what I did that I could like make things a little bit easier for myself, or maybe not put so much pressure on myself for dates and having things done by, a specific time and all of that. With crowdfunding, you have to have an end date because you're trying to get your perk sent to the people, and your perk is the book. So yeah, I guess I can't get around that. Now I just thought about it. I will have a date. But yeah, it's keeping everything together. And then the hardest part, which I only recently figured out once the book was out, is who your exact audience is. You have like an idea of who you're talking to and you want to get the message out to, But honestly, it kind of changes through who is receiving the book and getting your messages.
Yeah.
And I've looked at my audience, and it's so diverse, and it's so many different people. It's what I would have wanted for the audience, but I wouldn't have thought that some of the people that have like connected with the story would have, until like going to events in person and all of that. So have meeting people and seeing who walks up to me, who wants to read the story and get something from it. I'm like, oh, I was like surprised but excited. Like, oh, you like it too? You know, they're
That has to
different
be some,
personalities.
yeah, that has to be some of the most gratifying feeling, right? Because you work on this, as I said, it becomes very isolating working on something like this. So when you're actually going to these conventions and you're seeing the actual reaction from people, it's got to be uplifting, right? It's got to make you feel good. It makes you want to keep pushing towards these next issues.
Oh yeah, because I've only done the well, now it's been two different events. One was just the signing that was at Gods and Monsters comic shop here in Orlando. They're great. Yeah, that was interesting because there were people that came in specifically to see me in the book, and then I had people just walk up to check the book out, and that was
Nice.
good. They saw Alexis and were like, "Ooh, like she she looks relatable. We like her. Look at the story." So
Yeah, good. Nice.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up too, the fact that the reception has been kind of like in a way where you didn't expect, because I've noticed with a lot of these kind of Kickstarter, Indiegogo crowdfunded books, you never truly know who they're targeted towards. Because the reality is like an adult is the one who's going to go to this page and buy the book. But is
right.
that necessarily always the demographic you're looking for? You know, it could be the 8-year-old who's looking for that new superhero to look up to, or it could be the teen to adult who wants that more mature story that's going to relate to their growing path. So it's like
Right.
when you're putting that together, who were you looking towards? Like who was that group? Were you trying to get new readers into this, new younger readers, or was it someone like us within our age range?
Honestly, I was thinking like girls that look like myself would be interested in it. I'm giving them a different viewpoint. Maybe girls that aren't usually interested in comics would be, wanting that. But there's a lot of guys that are interested in Alexis Wyle. I mean, she's a hot lady, but they love the story and
Yes,
background
it's
of
twofold.
her.
Yeah.
I really like her. And I think the darkness of her tale. So because it is dystopian, it is a little spooky edge with the hellscape, and Rhapsodus is scary. So yeah, that, and it's a lot of the, I want to say I get the Gen Z. So late, I guess, what are late teens though now? Late teens, early through,
I
well,
think it's
20s through 30s too.
Yeah, that's definitely Gen Z would be that range, and then
Yeah.
the other
Right.
ones, I don't even know if they've even come up with the term for it yet. They
Right.
seem to always make it up when they're in their
Right.
20s, so like
Yeah.
I don't know what they are right now.
Well, yes, lots of young people, and then some older as well, that just they came up to me and they're like, "Yeah, they were comic collectors that are like, yeah, this looks like a book that I would want to collect and keep on my shelf." I'm like, that is great.
That's
Very
cool.
cool.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
speaking as a comic book collector myself, I remember when you had shown your little video on social media and everything, and I got to see the cover, and it had like that nice iridescence, kind of the light hits it, and it's just this rainbow of power that hits you in the face. And it brought me back to the 90s of like collecting my old comic books. In the 90s, you had those covers. You had these chromium covers that were just all special, and they caught your eye. And as a kid, you're just like, I don't know what that is,
Right.
but I need to have it. I need that with me at all times. Like it feels powerful. So I thought that was such a good choice because it resonated to someone like my age. And
Yeah.
I bet to younger kids they're seeing it and it's just jumping at them. It's getting their attention, which is nice to hear because you don't
Yeah.
think of kids reading books anymore. It's just their tablets and their phones. So
Mhm.
it's like
Right.
that's so refreshing to know like it's getting the attention of the younger crowd.
They all
Yeah,
just, I keep hearing everybody's like, "Oh, it's pretty."
It
when I
is.
saw that, I'm like, that is so on brand with Jamie too. The way I see it, the way that
Yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
glistening and bright and shiny, just like the ring light. That's what I'm saying. It works. Great job.
Like sparkles. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can fans still get a copy of the first issue, and where can they get it at?
Yes, they can get chapter one. I Am Alexis. It's on Amazon. You can get it on some of the other online retailers like Walmart, Barnes and Noble. Also my own website has it as well. So we have I have an online and it is on there. And you can get it direct from me, and I sign the copies that go out. So can get a signed copy from me. On Amazon, they also have the digital version. So you can, if you have like your Kindle and you want to get a copy, you can as well.
It just won't be as cool and shiny though. So let's
Yeah.
just throw that
Yeah.
out there. You definitely
No,
want the
it won't
physical
be
copy
that
on this
special
one.
edition.
No,
But it'll still be cool.
Well, we'll make sure to put that link in the description. So if you all want to
Mhm.
get one signed from Jamie, you can just click down and
Yeah.
get one
Definitely
for yourself.
recommend it.
Because that's
If
the
you're
way
a
I
NASS
would go.
fan, you'll do it.
Yeah. I mean, digital's nice, but I like touching my books. I like flipping a page, you know. And
Yeah.
if I know that the creator themselves had a little ink on it, that makes it all worthwhile.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I send fun stuff with it.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh,
Fun
there
stuff.
you go. Nice. All right.
Dan, you kind of like dived into it a little bit with something you said earlier, and you loosely touched on it. But I am curious, is like, how has this process affected now your thoughts and tactics going into issue 2? Like, are you doing anything different now for the preparation for the second issue?
It's interesting because I'm trying to be, I guess, more intentional with my choices for like what I'm as far because I'm doing another Indiegogo to get chapter 2 done.
Yeah.
So it's going into the Indiegogo. I'm like, what exact perks do I want? What special editions of the book can I do? What images do I want to like showcase before the book comes out? And what details do I want to share? So it's a little like before it was kind of you're like showcasing more of the full story.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, well, I don't want to spoil chapter 2 while doing this, but I do want you to have a little hint of what's to come so you can be excited for it. So I'm gonna try and do just a little bit of that. And it's plotting what comes after the Indiegogo. So again, with keeping chapter 1 alive and events that I can attend and hopefully get a table at so I can meet more people and all of that. So it's keeping it going while the second one is being created as well after.
Follow-up to that, how has that experience been like trying to get a table at little shows or conventions? Because I know that process, and
Yes.
it's a pain in the butt.
It is. It's very hard because I kind of still have to sit down and like look at what events are in the area and what I can get to. Because I just did an event I think it was like a month ago now, a month and a half. That I'm in Orlando and it was in St. Pete, but you kind of have to, for like smaller events versus large ones, figure out where you want to travel to. So like, is it worth traveling to? Because it's a lot of money that you're putting into the merch to bring to this event and into your table. And then if you have to stay overnight, then that's hotel and it's gas and all of these things. So if it's something where maybe it's not so many people that will be there, maybe you don't want to do, maybe you want to keep it more at home for the smaller events and then like travel for the massive ones.
Yeah.
You know what? That actually brings up a good point. So, George, this is a question to you then. In your experience doing these conventions, is it more advantageous to do the bigger conventions where there's more people, but maybe get lost in the crowd? Or is it better to kind of do the smaller conventions where it's a little more intimate with the people that are coming through?
It's definitely a tough give or take, because like the kind you're talking about, Jamie, location is everything. It's the same thing inside the convention also. So like you go to something like San Diego Comic-Con, which is the big one, you kind of want to be, let's say, an artist alley, because in artist alley, people are going to be weaving through and they're going to be seeing some of these names that you know and love. And if you're sat between like the right person, like a Jim Lee or something like that, it's like, all right, well, I'm here for Jim, but your thing looks really cool. And some of the mistake that other people make is they don't want to be with the artist, because I'm such a big deal. I'm going to get myself a more decent booth inside the bigger area where people are buying like shirts and stuff like that. And sometimes that becomes like you're just a hole in the wall and people aren't really noticing you. They'll walk right by you because you're next to Joe Schmo's collectibles and Nikki B's comics, and they're not going to be caring because you're not what they're looking for. So understanding where to place yourself in those situations is very important. And the great thing of going to smaller shows, they really already cater to the small creator to some extent. So there's something nice about them. but it's hard. It's honestly a big learning experience because you got to know your area and to see what the people actually like, which I'm pretty sure you're going through when you go to
Yeah.
small comic book shops or these smaller shows.
Definitely, the comic book shops was very cool. The event was cool. It's one of those things where you kind of have to, I don't know how to say that. I guess because you're putting so much into it, you do want to get something back out of it. And if the people don't show up or they aren't there, then you're not getting anything from that. You know, you want to be able to see the people for them to see you. So like, my event had fallen on like a holiday, which is tough. So like getting people to show up, the Saturday was booming, and then the Sunday was kind of wah wah, nobody's there. So then I'm just sitting there with Alexis and me, and it's sad, but it's fun though. It was a learning experience either way. Like you meet the other vendors as well, and I feel like I got a lot from meeting people that have been at these events, and I kept in touch with people. We like exchanged email addresses or numbers. I still message one of the ladies from the last one that I was at. She was sending me messages and pointers on what I can do locally or if something's coming up because she's around the same area. And I'm like, that is so nice. Like it's the comic community in general and people like and gaming because they're more on the video game side. Like everybody's very, I guess it's like a cluster of family sorts. Everybody wants you to like win, I feel, in the comic world.
It does, and a lot of that carries over even to our field too, whether it's like film or even like writing books, things like that. It's so difficult, and the odds are so insanely stacked against you that it sort of feels like we're all like war veterans and we're going through this together. It does, but it's that what's so invaluable, and then to our listeners that are interested in doing something like this, just put yourself out there because networking with people like us that have been doing this. So for Jamie, for you, if you have somebody brand new that could be asking you a million questions, you're going to have a lot of answers for them that's become so invaluable because you've been through the grind of doing this. And sometimes that's more valuable is networking with those people than it may be the sales that you get that day. Because you're going to need those people. You're going to need those contacts or those connections or even just that knowledge of doing that, right? So there's a lot that comes with that. But the next question I wanted to ask you, okay, so you kind of hinted a little bit at issue 2. Can you give us a little sneak preview? Can we get a little something on here about what we might be looking for?
Ooh, with the second book, chapter 2, which I can tell you the name of is The Way We Were. Is the name of chapter 2.
Okay.
It is kind of an homage to wait, hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries. Take your time.
It's like that Disney interview. You got to watch what you say.
I know. Like,
exactly. Yeah. Because Jamie the boss is gonna go down. He's gonna get angry at Jamie right now.
Yeah.
So Jamie's got to be careful how Jamie the boss is gonna take this.
Jeez. No. Okay. So no. So The Way We Were, there is going to be hints to who Alexis was before the change of everything. So we get a little glimpse of that. We meet more villains. So there are some new bad guys and encounters that she has. There will be more of Infinity X, her team. So more action from them. And an old friend of Alexis's might show up.
Okay. Nice.
So might have something from the past.
Perfect.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I really quickly, I don't think for those that didn't hear our last episode, I don't think we really quite touched the world of Alexis Wyle yet in this one. Do you mind just giving something very quickly brief to tell them what this world is?
Right. So Alexis, pretty much, she was a regular country girl. Everybody's minding their business when suddenly Rhapsodus, the Hell King, takes over Earth and takes them all back to his realm, which the main city is named Azair. So that is where they now live. And in chapter 1, we pick up with them 10 years into the change. Now they've just been accustomed to living there. Everybody's, just pretty much surviving. Her team, Infinity X, which is like a crew that they kind of just came together through the years, and have built a system to try and keep what's left of the humans saved. So she is trying to protect humanity and what's left in this scary world where there's sulfurs and zelpods and like all these crazy things. And her whole thing is she wears a protective piece over her heart because she's a person that is not easily swayed, but she is affected by energies and different, she's kind of an empath. So she tries to keep people at a distance but near. Yeah, Rhapsodist knows this, so that's how he tries to get to her, is through her heart.
Perfect. I know, I love that. And even reading the first chapter, it's such a rich world already that you're going to be slowly unveiling it a little bit like an onion. So
Yes.
I'm excited to read more about it to see what's going to happen, because there's a lot of questions that I have with it right now. I'm like, okay, why is this? Where is this? What's going to happen here? Obviously, you're not going to tell us all that, because then it'd just be the entire book would just be you explaining to us what's going on and just be bad exposition. So we got to see it through the action. So no, I'm definitely excited. So it sounds like issue 2 is going to be more of a prequel, sort of, right? Kind of seeing what happened before we got to where
like a
we're at.
flashback.
Like a flashback.
We dive a little bit more into the surrounding areas that she's in, so you'll get a little glimpse of that, of the world that's around them. But there are still places out that she hasn't even reached herself that we know exist. So we'll see. Eventually, hopefully, she'll get there with many books to come.
There you go.
See, I'm glad you mentioned many books to come.
Yes.
All right. Because something I've noticed, because I've seen people putting their reviews out there, people are loving this book, which is so great to see. So many TikToks and Instagram reels and such. And something I've been noticing within this certain climate is like people say that, paper is dead and dying. And I've experienced it. You work in publishing for years, all of a sudden it's like, no one's buying our magazine, gotta go. Okay, that sucks. But I've seen within this crowdfunding era, people are finding success. Like just recently, there was Eric July with the Rippaverse, and he had huge success with ISOM, and from that, he now has a bunch of spinoffs coming up. Can you see something like that happening for Alexis and her crew? Like maybe one of them has their own, like Rain goes on her own side story or something like that. Is something like that possible for the future of Alexis Wyle?
For sure. In the world, there's plenty of area for spin-offs and different stories because they all have such diverse backgrounds as well. So there's lots of story to tell from beforehand and versus where they're going. Not that they're going anywhere or anything's going to happen, but if they were to go off somewhere, it would be very interesting to travel off with them, because I feel they would each have their own way of dealing with things. And it's a collective crowd. We've got Kane, who's very large. I can mention we do have another member of Infinity X who is fun detail, who was on the first cover in the little area here.
Oh, nice.
If you notice, there was 4, and in the first chapter 1, you only meet like 3 of them. So yes, there is a new member that will be in chapter 2 that you'll see.
Okay.
that was one of the questions that I saw. I was like, who is that? Like, what? A lot of question marks on this. One thing I did like, though, I like the touch that you had where you see her running through the tunnel and you have like the little placard of it looks like the investors, right? Towards the first one.
Yeah.
Those are backers.
Cool,
That was a nice touch.
Yeah, it was a nice touch.
There will be a chance to get in the second one as well.
Okay, good, because George and I want to see our names in there. So we'll make sure to invest in that one. No. So the next question I want to ask you, comic books, the crossovers exploded in the 90s, right? So I remember one of the big ones that I loved was the Marvel versus DC. What popular characters or titles do you think would mesh well with Alexis Wyle?
I was thinking who would come to her world and how they might react to things.
For sure, yeah.
So my first pick would be Rick from Walking Dead. Okay.
Ooh, okay. That's good.
I feel he would fit in because he can help protect the skins, also known as people that are survivors. He can help control them and kind of give them their jobs, maybe, work with Infinity X on how to delegate different jobs to people where they should be and protecting them. So that's the reason for him. Second one would be Deadpool, because he's got the attitude and darkness kind of within his soul. I feel like, yeah, he and Alexis might have a little banter going back and forth. He might be fun on an adventure, they can go beat somebody up together. And and last one was Hellboy. And that's because
yeah, of
That's
course,
cool.
of course.
Yeah, that makes
Of
so much
course.
sense. Yeah.
because I mean, half demonic was one of them, and he's very knowledgeable about supernatural, so they are in another plane, or like wherever they are, he can help try and figure things out. And his super strength, she always needs back up with that.
That of the three, like yeah, I could totally see that. Like I could see him on the cover with Alexis already.
I feel that would be a movie.
And the artwork would blend very well with it too. I could see that. Good call. So Jamie, setting up for issue 2, book 2, chapter 2, right? The next series here that we have of Alexis. Where can people go to your Indiegogo to pre-reserve for this next printing?
Yes. So the Indiegogo, it's up now. Everything's live. You can find the link on alexiswyle.com, and I'll give you the link as well. And yeah, just go on. There will be cool perks. There is options for all different types of things, from keychains to posters, t-shirts, all the good things. Yes. and I'll have like a little duo as well. So if you want to get book 1 and book 2 together, you can.
That's cool. Nice. Yeah. We'll definitely include that here in the description. So for our listeners, go down there, definitely place
your orders.
Place your orders with the shimmy. Place your orders.
You want it.
Yeah, I know. So Jamie, has there been any recent movies, television shows, anything like that you've watched that you like? Anything you want to recommend to our listeners?
So I just watched Under the Bridge, and that was very good. So that's for more of like the drama watchers. But I'm in the middle of Sweet Tooth season 3, and I am loving it.
Yes.
It's so good. Like this season is really really good. It's making me sad that it's over. Like
yeah.
Good.
It is. Movie wise, I don't know. I just watched Hitman, and honestly, I wasn't that impressed.
No. Okay.
I have it on my queue right now.
I wasn't sure. I was kind of on the fence about getting to it. I just saw Godzilla -1 on Netflix finally for the first time. That was awesome.
I started that.
Have you seen that one?
I started it. I'm like halfway through, I think. So I'll have to go back. Yeah.
Okay. No worries.
I've raved enough about Godzilla -1. I don't think anyone wants to hear me talk about it anymore.
For the umpteenth time.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us today, and thank you all for joining us on another Not a Strong Start. As always, you can follow us here on YouTube and listen to our podcast on Apple, iTunes. Don't forget to see us on Instagram and Twitter, where sometimes, we talk about movies there too. So follow us on there. I have been your host today, George. You can follow me at Nicolopoulos.
I'm your co-host today, Daniel. You can follow me at King_Sangre.
And of course, we've had with us Jamie. Where can they follow you?
Ooh, go on at AW Comic. Please follow the Alexis Wyle page. We need you.
Yeah, you're gonna love it because you post a lot of fun stuff over there too.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, and all the exclusives. So I'll be posting fun things.
And we'll definitely have to bring you back on too, just for another Tuesday episode.
Oh yeah,
we'll have you back on. Yeah. We're excited for issue 2, Jamie. Let's go.